Hello there, welcome to the Media Binge. My name is Austin, and today I'm going to be talking through my top 10 favorite songs released in the year 2024. Been looking forward to this, pretty excited. The only thing I want to clarify before getting into my list is that it is going to be my list, and more likely than not, that will not align perfectly with your list or the greater critical consensus about the best stuff released in 2024. All I'm trying to do here is rank the songs that had an impact on me, that meant something to me, that made me want to get up and move, or that I couldn't keep off repeat, that kind of thing. And if you would care to share your individual report on the best of 2024, I would highly encourage you to drop your list in the comments below. But with that, let's get into the list with my 10th favorite song of 2024, which has gotta be Matt Champion featuring Dora Jar. Get it? Dora Jar. It's a new artist to me, but I absolutely love that name. That's fantastic. The song is called Steel. This comes from Matt's debut solo album, which rules, by the way. Like with most of the work on that project, this song has a lot of interesting sounds colliding in even more interesting ways. In this case, amounting to a sonic composition that really matches the lyrics and I guess story of this song, which is essentially about a crush and how, like, especially in that early stage of infatuation with a new person, how that can be just so exciting but also awful, like the helplessness, the powerlessness that comes in that, but also just the overwhelming joy. Like, the lyrics are really nice, but then the sonics of the song really capture that emotion, because again, it's all bright and poppy and bubbly, but then just has that little hint of madness in there too. It's also cool having a male and a female vocalist in the mix for a romantic tune like this. I think their back and forth is really good, and the collaboration worked wonderfully. The chorus by Dora is just permanently stuck in my head. Her going, "I don't know what to say to you. I'm freezing up, my temperature dropped to 32. Could not keep this off repeat, and legitimately, I think that this song has probably the broadest appeal of maybe any other track that's going to be on this list. So check it out. Highly recommended. My number 9 is by an artist that I recognize we have complicated feelings about now, but all that did come out after the song was released. So a little bit of separating the art and the artist in this instance, but it's Zach Bryan. Pink Skies, one of the biggest songs of the year anyway. Probably the most streams of any track that I'm going to be talking about today. This is maybe his best song ever. With that, you can say most of the positives that you can say about the best of Zach's music. I appreciate the more stripped back, like, authentic recording style. There's a little quiver in the voice. There's a soul to this song, which is missing, I'd say, in the vast majority of popular country from the last decade or so. And the narrative, or the story throughout this song, is essentially about a family coming together, returning home for a funeral. The setting is perfect for a Zach Bryan song. It engages well with all of the emotions that come with that unique experience of returning home to a place that you used to spend so much time, and all of the memories that come with that. It's sort of nostalgic, it's sort of forlorn, and it culminates in that intangible thing that a lot of the best country songs are after, where there's sort of an undercurrent of like, and you know what? That's what it's all really about in this song. But I mean that in a good way. It's excellent. Not to mention catchy. Like, this got play for a reason. That chorus is powerful, very sing-alongable, and despite the emotional core of this song, I think it has a real widespread appeal. So my number 9, Zach Bryan, Pink Skies. Number 8 is going to be our first instance of hip hop on this list. It's gotta be LL Cool J with production from Q-Tip on the title track from their collaborative album, The Force. The Force! This track is awesome. I will say the core appeal does come in more of Q-Tip's contributions, where the production on this is wild. It's really not like anything else being produced today or ever up to this point. LL does do his thing though. He's in top form, and he does paint a nice picture in his lyrics. It's like a lot of boats, babes, and braggadocio, but I like that kind of thing. And it also fits with what Q-Tip is doing. Every time I hear that initial, like, slightly dissonant boing, boing, boom, 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 boom. At the start of this track, I get impossibly hyped. And then later on, during the second verse, there's this kind of like weird building moment where it culminates in this explosion sound effect, which LL could have said anything over and it would have felt like the biggest mic drop of the year. Also, speaking of people we have complicated feelings on, MJ sample on the, I guess what you'd call the chorus, but it's pitched around. You wouldn't know it was him if you didn't know. Phenomenal track. I hope to see more from both of these guys. Number 7, Charli XCX, Sympathy is a Knife. I mean, there had to be a Brat track on here. The sound on this thing is just huge. It's massive, and it's there to get us hyped up for this insecurity anthem. Because like with the best stuff on Brat, you can appreciate this song just listening to it, on the surface level, because it is immaculately produced, and I love the like wah 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 going on there. That seems to be a new sound that's like emerging and being perfected lately, and I'll tell you what, I could use more. But anyway, you dig a little deeper into the lyrics, and Charli's getting really vulnerable, talking about her insecurities and kind of painting a picture of how that can still plague somebody at her level. Also, rumors that some of this is maybe aimed a little at Taylor Swift. So Charli Taylor beef incoming. That could be interesting. Also, I'll make mention here because the remix album was cool, but the Ariana Grande version of this song is so different that I would pretty much categorize that as an entirely different track. Now, between the two, this would definitely be my preference, but I just want to make mention of that. Obviously, if you're a fan of this, you should check out the other, but those are my feelings there. Number 6, Absol with production by Crooklyn and Andrew Boyd. The song is called Squeeze First 2. And the horns alone on this, the horn sample is so huge and triumphant and just exciting. And I do need to admit that part of the appeal for me with this song and why it's sneaking up into my top 10 here is it probably comes down to an investment in Absol as an artist, where on his last album, he was very open about going through some pretty heavy shit. And while I enjoyed Herbert, I think that's a great album, to hear him back in the zone, working on a banger, just really feeling himself like on top of the world is so exciting. And I can't help but be infected by that enthusiasm and that raw joy in this song every time that I play it back. It's also, like with a lot of the best hip-hop songs, it's sort of in conversation with hip-hop and the history of hip-hop, where this is a sequel to a lesser-known Jay-Z song from one of his less celebrated projects, to put it politely. And I love seeing that. It's like how Hollywood always wants to like remake the classics, but they don't go back to that stuff that had a really good idea at its core, but the execution was off. I don't need another remake of Jurassic Park. Like, the original's right there. It's still great. Go and remake that freaking Justin Timberlake movie In Time by Andrew Niccol, because that movie has the coolest premise of any movie ever, and they did not hit the mark with the execution. But if we gave it another go, that could really be something. That's what Ab-Soul is doing on this one. He's taking a Jay-Z song that had something cool going on, but he's improving on it. And without disrespecting what Hova did there, I think he produced a better song. Also got to say that a lot of the appeal with Ab-Soul comes down to the wordplay, which in this song and throughout Soul Burger is on another level. A few standout bars to me. He says, Minnesota warned me they want a war, but actually they forfeitin' like they wardrobe for half of the week. Forfeits? Forfeit? What? I got another one. I do it. I was born with this style. It's unfortunate how they put a pro's choice in question like abortion is now. Pro's choice? Like he's a pro, but pro-choice? Like a woman's right to choose? Damn, bro. Like, his brain's different, but it's cool. You got dozens more of those on this project. I was this close also to putting 9 Mile in this slot, but the first half of that song is basically a cappella. So we're going with Squeeze first too. Top half, number 5. This is the song that I had the strongest emotional response to of any song, any music really that I heard in 2024. It's not number 1 because the replay wasn't quite there with this song the way it was with some of the others, but Adrianne Lenker's Free Treasure absolutely destroyed me on first listen, and really the first like 5 or 6 listens, because I would keep going back to it and I'm like, okay, I know what I'm in for. I've heard the track. It's not going to get me this time. And then 3 minutes later, I'm sobbing. It's a very powerful track to me. And maybe that has to do with how like I think I'm more prepared to have that kind of emotional response to a song in this style. It's stripped back, not like overly produced at all. I in fact I think Adrianne is doing the Big Thief thing, like single take on each record still. I could be wrong on that, but at least the spirit of it is still there, and it makes for a very disarming setting. And then you take the lyrics, which end up being about love and what that can mean when somebody loves you, even if maybe you don't feel worthy of that. And the song just like feels like home. I gotta say, like it feels like a safe space, like a warm blanket. Powerful effort from Adrianne. To me, this feels more like familial love than romantic, but it could be interpreted either way. And to me, this is a beautiful, beautiful song. So highly recommend you check it out. And if you like what you hear, listen to the whole album. It's great. My 4th favorite song of 2024 is arguably the biggest hubba banger on the list, and that is going to be Joey Valence and Brae, John Cena. It's such a hype song. It gets me so hyped. And in fact, this was the very first song that I heard from these two, and it immediately hooked me. I needed to hear more. It did what the single is supposed to do and get me interested in the project, which I ended up loving. I can also just say that this slot could go to any number of banger tracks that they have on their album No Hands. I mean, the title track right there, Bus It, Okay, Pack a Punch. These guys really know how to put together a hype track. And it is hip hop, but it's the most fun hip hop album that I heard all year. And I know I'm kind of talking about the album rather than the track, but to get back to that, this song in particular, I think is taking that like gold school white boy hip hop a la the Beastie Boys and then updating it with a really cool like synthy loop that's just massive and awesome and current. And so even though we do have kind of those dustier aesthetics on the bars, I think they make it work with a very new current sound that with a little tweaking, like I could very easily see a Playboi Carti over this style of beat. So really cool to hear that in this day and age. The bars on this song definitely more fun than technical, but really enjoyed this one, I believe from Brae, where he says, "It's two-player, it's co-op, it's split screen. I'm OP, my shell blue, your shell green." Mario Kart, come on, I love it. My third favorite song of 2024 is JPEGMAFIA. The song is titled Exmilitary. You guys might not know this. I mean, you wouldn't, because this is the first year that I am publicly sharing a list of my favorite songs, but I've been doing this for like 5 years, just privately, and you talk about it with your friends. And JPEGMAFIA, the only artist that has made my top tracks list every year that I've been doing it. So I'm a pretty big fan, but this song is something else. And that's why it's so high, because I feel like this composition has the potential to be an artist-defining track for JPEG. What a song. The journey that you go on through this thing, which is like multi-phased. Like, you could say that about some of Peggy's earlier stuff. Like, I love Cornballs, but that's a lot of like, and then this sound, and like throwing stuff against the wall. I think that this track is a lot more considered. It's meatier. And I don't want to oversimplify it, but like, this song feels like America, like a song that is really resonant in our current moment. He's talking about race relations. He's talking about guns and violence. He's talking about social media. Like, that's America in 2024. And for all the wild shit that JPEG has said on social media, I think that the bars here are more considered and poetic. And I thank him for that. But, there's still an edge to it. Like, this is not a subdued or like casual song from JPEG. We got this bar, "I might scratch some numbers off, but I don't play no lottery." That's America, dude. Also, I just want to say the production on this thing is so damn clean. It was kind of dangerous territory using the iconic After Laughter sample that was used by RZA on the Wu-Tang debut with the song Tears. Going back to that that's kind of dangerous. I think RZA sort of has claim to that, but Peggy really did his own thing with it, and the song benefits from that sample, but then builds upon it throughout. So I think that he cleared every hurdle that he set for himself with this, and it's one of the best songs of the year to me, hands down. Also, this is the only song on my list that I got a chance to hear live, and it translated. Like, it wasn't the craziest moment in the entire night, but I could tell just vibe checking with my fellow JPEG fans that we were into this one. And my second favorite song of 2024, Vince Staples' Étouffée. Vince Staples, my dude. This guy just gets better and better with each project, and this track is, I think, the best of him. It's moody, it's dark, it's very cool and sort of understated, but then you get to that chorus and it's also sticky as hell. Like, he just has kind of a knack for that. "In the ghetto, I'm a Martian crash landing. In them dirty ass apartments, stay solid. I'll forever be the hardest, big timing like them people in New Orleans." I just love that image of him. He feels like a Martian. And you can feel in a lot of the art that Vince put out in this year that he does feel sort of out of place and misunderstood, and like his entire life is kind of surreal. And I really enjoy spending time with his perspective on these things. Also, I think that the drums on this particular track are a perfect selection. They're kind of like a low pass filter on those, to where they have a little bit more meat, but not so much snap. That's perfect for this song. And a note for any artist, I think that Vince here on this track, and indeed the greater Dark Times album, is showing that the more personal that you go with your art, the more specific you get with it, the greater the true appeal and like the depth of the experience that people are going to have with it. He really came through with this batch of tracks, and Étouffée, in my mind, is a serious contender for one of the best hip-hop songs of the decade so far. And, oh, here we go. Okay, what's number one gonna be? What's Austin into? Number one comes from an album which I liked, didn't necessarily love, but this song is undeniable to me. It's The Smile. The song's called Teleharmonic. And I guess that means my roots as a sad basement-dwelling Radiohead fan are on full display here. But I was really touched by this song, and it's also seen a lot of replay for me. If I'm being totally honest, I don't know entirely what Tom and the gang were getting at with this, but it's a song with real poetry in the lyrics and tremendous beauty in the composition. When it kicks off, that chorus there, where he goes, "So long, somewhere you'll be there." Something in that phrasing pierced my soul. And I can't tell you exactly what he's trying to get at there, but like the longing in his voice, to me, it's like maybe this song is about a last goodbye and just like the impossible sadness in that, and like the earnestness of like, one day perhaps I'll be somewhere where you are also. Not to say we are together, but we will be tangential. Also, maybe there's something in here about like Christianity, because he's talking about like betrayal and fishermen. So maybe, I don't know, but I guess I got the rest of my life to figure it out, because this is going to be staying in rotation. It's really the song that meant the most to me. And also, I find it hard to imagine that anyone's gonna really take fault with this pick, because even if you're not into the lyrics and the vague lyrics, and Tom's voice doesn't do it for you, the tune at the core of this, the sound, especially on that chorus, is transcendent. It is a hugely powerful piece of music, in my opinion. I hope to others as well. And that's going to do it for my top 10 favorite songs of 2024. We have a little visitor here for the wrap up, but I did make a larger playlist of my favorite songs of the year that's actually 25 songs. So that's going to be linked in the description of this video, and you can check that out before you chew me out for not including any Kendrick Lamar tracks or whatever your personal number one was. Again, I'd love to hear about all of that in the comments, so be sure to comment your personal list and subscribe or check back in for my top albums of 2024 and top new to me first-time film watches of 2024 that'll be posting soon after this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.